What's up, guys? More of the painting. Here we go. So, yarn is what you're going to need. Now, you can use metal hangers. I prefer yarn because it's easier to wrap and tie if you need to tie something. And we're ready to go. All our plastics should be dry now. I have a little rag I've been using to wipe off any wet spots, but everything should be good. Now, what we can do is we can actually set up in the paint booth. Now, the cool thing about my paint booth that I don't think I showed you, everybody, is my paint booth. If we go inside here, now this is not required, obviously, but mine does come with, let's see, mine comes with LED lights. Now, I have to plug it in because they're not plugged in, but I'm going to plug them in really quick and show you. But the cool thing about my setup here is with the LED lights, I'm able to actually work in the dark, essentially, which is one of the really nice bonuses of having this tent. This really overall is a really nice tent. It's just not the best, and it's missing some stuff. So there you go. So, as you can see, got LED light bars, and they can get really dim or really bright. In the middle of the night, this is definitely going to be nice for us to be painting in here. So we're really good to go. I'm going to start strapping up the first plastic, and then we'll go from there. I'm going to sit you guys down right here, and I will be right back with that first plastic. All right. Okay. So, first plastic we're going to start with, I'll also talk about my getup here a little bit. So, first plastic we're going to start with is we're going to start with the tank cover that goes on the front of my bike, and took the things out. Now, you can touch this with bare hands as long as it's really clean, your hands are clean. You don't need gloves for this, but I do recommend using gloves for the painting process. And remember, this is the first coat of primer. It's not paint. A lot of these surfaces are really smooth and nice. Typically, you'd have to sand them, but these surfaces are not necessarily required. Some of it will have to be sanded, so I'm going to have to actually wait for some of them. But this one is ready to go. We can go ahead and actually immediately start priming, but overall, it'll be good. So we're not priming the inside. We cleaned the inside because we don't want grease to transfer over to the top. So if we're painting, grease from here doesn't get on the finished job. But we're not actually painting this. We don't want to because the number's on here. We want to try to avoid spraying the number so we don't mix up the bolts in those bags. But so then we're going to hang this one up. So the way I'm going to do this one is, so typically you're going to do one is you're going to hang it from the back. And what I recommend doing, especially for this one, since there's not really a great location on this particular piece, we're going to go ahead and wrap it a particular way. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna thread wire through here and go up here. Now, what we can do to make it so we don't end up going across it, so that we don't have like a rope shaped line when we paint, is we'll actually just bunch into a really big ball. Go in, bunch into a big ball, hang it. That way it'll hang like this, right? Which is what we want. And then it won't get in the way of the paint. So we're gonna start by doing that. And as far as my getup goes, I'm gonna put this down really quick. As far as my getup goes, so typically I would wear something that you don't mind trashing. It's not necessarily going to be great for this particularly. Realistically, you would like to have goggles. You'd like to have an aspirator. I don't have any of that, and this isn't a full-on spray gun. It's spray paint, and I will have ventilation. Typically, you're in a closed, like a garage or a paint booth that doesn't have ventilation, or a lot of ventilation for that matter. You want to wear aspirator, but the homemade one like this, I'm using like a tent, it's gonna be a little different. So I'm gonna have a face mask. It's COVID. This stuff's pretty everywhere. You don't really need to be careful. I mean, realistically, just be mindful of it. If it's starting to get really fuzzy in there, I recommend just, I honestly recommend just staying away from the fumes as much as possible. But yeah, wear something that you don't mind getting ruined, because it's gonna get ruined. This stuff will stain, and if you do it enough, it's gonna get everywhere. So I'm gonna actually go ahead and use my jacket. This is the jacket I've obviously gotten paint on it before, so I don't really care. And yeah, just make sure you're all covered. If you have glasses, use them, but you don't really need to. And everything else is good. Just wear clothes that you don't mind getting thrashed, and make sure you have something covering your face. What I might actually do is I might actually get a face mask underneath this, and then use my face shield to cover it. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm going to demonstrate one more time this little ball of yarn, or little strand of yarn. So we're gonna take some of this yarn. We don't want like a crazy amount. Maybe like from here to my shoulder. It's probably a good amount. Probably don't even need that much. Get scissors and cut it. Now that you got the yarn, remember the yarn doesn't have to be clean necessarily. It's just here for looks. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our piece of plastic. We're gonna string plastic for this example, because we want it to be hanging like this. We're gonna string this in like this, because we're gonna put a ball at the other end, and that's gonna hold it together. So once you get a little bit of it through, now you're gonna want to make a ball. So now what you're gonna want to do is just take the yarn. You want to tie it in a way that creates kind of like a giant knot. So you're gonna tie this into just a bunch of different knots until it gets big enough that it's actually not gonna go through the hole. Then obviously when you're done, you can cut the string and then just simply pull it through. But until then, this is what you're gonna have to do. Now, be mindful of this. Once you hang a piece of plastic, you're not gonna be able to take it down until you're done painting it. So make sure that you are set up. I have about a week to do this. Obviously, once a coat's on and it doesn't need any more primer on it, I'm gonna take it down and start priming the next piece. And I'm gonna keep doing that over and over again until eventually I get an entire thing going. But you're gonna keep doing this, and essentially what you're looking for, again, you're just trying to make a ball. And this is gonna be, could be a little challenging. If you actually have a little object that you could string it through, even better. String it back through here. The real challenge is you want to see if it fits. Essentially, I'm just going to show you guys what I did again. So I made a ball, right? Basically just consists of a bunch of knots. Pull it through. Remember, you don't want it to be nice and snug. You don't want to get stuck in there, but you just want to be tight enough, you know, that it holds it up. This one needs a tad bit more to it, but should be good to go. But that's generally the safety. That's generally the idea. And some plastics you can get away with actually not needing to do this. You can just simply tie a knot into the screw hole and be good to go. But some might require this extra level of innovation. Kind of bounce it a little bit, kind of have your hand on it so it doesn't come flying out. This is actually holding really well. And as you can see, although it is getting in the way of the paint a little bit, it's not getting in the way of it a lot. We'll still be able to paint decently good. And it shouldn't get in the way of anything. I even kind of just redid it a little bit here. So now it's not touching anything. And hopefully this works on camera. Now it holds really good, right? You can kind of tug on a little bit. Don't pull it really tight because obviously then it'll pop out. But for this actually works really good. And it should hold. And because there would be no wind or anything like this should hold. If it falls, and we can fix it from there. I'm going to string this up now, and then we're going to see how it looks once it's inside the tent. Now that it is officially hung, now I can show you what it looks like. So essentially what you're going to have is this. Make sure the plastic is below the vented at the top if you're going to use a tent. And it should be good to go. That should be good and we should have no problems. So we're going to leave that alone. Kind of let that calm down. And now we're going to prep this. So now you're going to need, you're going to get the plastic you're going to prep. And you're going to want to get some special tape. We're going to take this up over to chair here. Do it properly. So we're going to go ahead and do this on top. So the only things we want to cover are the light, the lettering, and the symbol. Now I'm going to do it and then I'm going to come back to you in the camera so you guys can have a before and after.